Hey, what's up, everyone? This is King Crypto, and today we're going to be talking about a ICO known as COTI, COTI, known as Currency of the Internet. And this is essentially digital currency built for payments. So, let's say you're trying to buy something on Amazon. They give you the option of buying with a credit card, debit, PayPal. They want to also be included on that list as COTI, uh, right under PayPal. That's kind of the idea. They want to become another solution for people that want to pay with digital currency, and they want to be more affordable, more transparent, and there's a lot of other things to talk about in that department. So I made a little ICO rating sheet, and we're going to go through that. I don't know if this is everything that there is to talk about, but this is kind of a rough draft. I will be making a better one as we go on with these videos in the future. But these are some things to me that are kind of important. I'm not going to lie. Maybe to some people, a website isn't really that important, uh, or grammar might not be the most important thing, but to me, it definitely is because I've seen many times, many ICOs that if they don't cover those kind of grounds, it's a really bad it's a really bad ICO. It's probably a scam, and I've seen it too many times. So those kind of things are important. You have to put details. The details matter with these kind of things. So, okay, let's go over the website a little bit. So this is a team. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but they do look legit, and I do like how they're and I like their partners as well. Bancor, that's a pretty cool exchange website. Wings, okay. So mass adoption of digital currencies in the mobile era. So they believe a few years from now that digital currencies will play a central role in our lives, replacing coins, cash, cards, and they will enable us to transact more easily. So COTI aspires to bring about this change by reconciling the best of traditional payment systems with the best of digital currencies, which if you read their white paper, it definitely looks like they do know what they're talking about in that department. So yeah, payment systems are not keeping pace with e-commerce. And we can see that almost all payments are just traditional currencies. Digital currencies are super small. So you can imagine like COTI could, if COTI could even represent 1% of digital payments, or with digital currencies, that is an incredible milestone. And they seem to be the most legit for doing that. They seem to be able to do that probably better than all the other digital currencies out there, because they're, like I've addressed in my last video, accessibility and ease of use are the most important things that are going to get people to adopt to the digital currencies, because they're used to what we're doing now. They're used to debit cards or credit cards. It's easy. So if COTI can make that easier and cheaper, we will start to see that transition. Okay, so these are all things in the white paper that I'll talk about. Distributed ledger technology that outpaces current cryptocurrency standards. So they have this idea of a trust system. I think that's very interesting. As you can see, COTI has these, if you look at this, I don't know, animation, you can see that there's this thing called a trust score. And this guy has a 100% trust score. So that means he's got the best, I guess, kind of score. It's kind of like a credit score in a way, but it's based on different metrics. And as you can see, because his trust score is so high, he gets a discount on this sofa that he's trying to buy. And this guy's 50% trust score, so he gets a less of a discount. But you see what I'm saying, right? So based on this trust score, that's how you go about doing payments. I think that's a very interesting concept, and I do like that a lot. So we're gonna get into that later too. Sorry for all the noise. Gotta move some stuff around. Okay, and here's the roadmap. This is another thing we'll get into. But so far, when I look at this website, it's beautiful. It looks so good. So I got to give that a 9 out of 10 because it gravitates me to the ICO, makes me kind of want to buy into it. So they got well, they actually got three white papers. They have the token economy. They have this is the business overview, which is really good for just, I guess, someone that's looking to invest. And the technical white paper is good for, I guess, people that understand what the hell they're talking about. Like, I get some of the things they're saying, but for me to like break this down for you, I'd be here for like an hour, maybe two. It's no joke. It's pretty complicated stuff, but they really do explain things um, to the bone, man. So and then the fact that they have three different white papers to educate you on this topic is a really good sign to me. So this is their summary. COTI's vision is to build a decentralized and scalable payments network to facilitate efficient global commerce. So why did they even create this in the first place? Well, they believe that current and mobile payment solutions have recently been dealing with inadequacies. Am I saying that right? Inadequacies. Sorry. And those are like high processing fees. As you know, credit card networks charge a number of fees, and after your like annual, like some credit cards don't charge a fee until like after a year, but then once they do, it's like 23% interest, and that's just an absurd amount of money to be spending just for credit. Long settlement periods with high rolling reserves, absence of shared trust mechanism, and a lack of multi-currency support. So COTI wants to address all of those problems, and they want to become way better. That's what I'm getting from it. So they want us to do this by instantaneous remittance that utilizes distributed ledger technology in the form of DAG, directed acyclic graph structure, a global trust scoring engine, which I was talking about, assesses the interactions over buyers and sellers over time. It's like an algorithm that determines how trustworthy you are with your purchases, if your conduct is honorable or honest. Those kind of things determine your score over time. A mediation system. That system resolves disputes. Let's say you file a claim that the merchant sold you something that was not good, or it wasn't up to what you actually thought it was going to be. There'll be a mediator there that will decide if who's actually telling the truth, and in that case that person gets compensated, and their trust score might go up while the other person's goes down. And the mediator also gets a payout in COTI every time he does that. So currency exchange as well. They want to give you a lot of options, which they're trying to create by the end of 2019. So pretty much all over the world they have the Japanese currencies, the euro, the dollar, US dollar, and the Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and they want to make all those options into their exchange where you can buy COTI coins. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. So the context, let's see. So cross-border e-commerce is essentially they're just saying that when you're trying to purchase something from a different country, it's a lot harder. So like US-based merchants, cross-border transactions are 2 to 3 times more likely to be declined relative to domestic transactions. So also there's higher fees associated with that, and there's also higher abandonment rates. Online marketplaces is another problem. Key functions dealt with by card networks have to be handled by the merchant, so it makes it harder for them. And the overhead costs for dealing with it makes them, makes it so that there's less competitors in the marketplaces. Peer-to-peer commerce. Numerous non-bank services offer solutions for this. These services handle the money transfer aspect of P2P transactions effectively, but their use is confined primarily to transactions that involve trusted parties. These services fail to account for the conformity and delivery of goods and services. Rather, they focus solely on the authorization, clearing, and settlement of money transfers. So as such, they're not complete payment solutions and are not suited to accommodate P2P commerce. involving parties that do not know each other and may never transact again. Um, Shortcomings faced by existing payment solutions when handling these new payment scenarios are attributed by one key factor, a lack of trust. So the trust, yet again, that's why they're really focused on the trust score, because they believe that without that trust score, that's why we have to deal with the high fees, the lack of cross-border payments, the abandonment rates, and the other things that they have mentioned on the context. So they talk about the unfulfilled promise of digital currencies. And, they pretty much talk about the same things that most of us talk about. The scalability, as the network or the Bitcoin network grows, it faces severe network congestion, given rise to higher fees and slower settlement times. Um, Absolutely true. Bitcoin can only handle 20 transactions per second compared to Visa's 65,000 transactions per second. So that's clearly not good, right? For people to want to, you can't really adopt into something like that. Like Bitcoin's the most popular cryptocurrency too. So, I never understood that, why people are so focused on Bitcoin when there's so many others that can go faster. But whatever. Speed and consistency, that's true. Bitcoin can be, 10 minutes. It could take 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and it could take up to 16 hours. And I've had to deal with times where I've sent Bitcoin and it takes hours to get to my, wherever I want it to be sent. And that's very annoying. Legality, Bitcoin is always facing legal scrutiny. Fungibility, due to the illegal nature of certain Bitcoin transactions, advanced backtracking technologies can link Bitcoins to a history of illicit activity, thus downsizing acceptance by legitimate counterparties. Yeah. Volatility, obviously, immutability, um, and complexity. Complexity is a big one. Since Bitcoin's so complicated, people don't want to be bothered with it. It's pretty obvious. So COTI has the right idea here in talking about the problems with certain cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Okay. So objectives. So here's their objectives down here. And their graphs look beautiful as well. But these are the goals. So governance, they want it to be decentralized. They want 10,000 transactions per second with instant confirmation. So card networks may be able to go up to 65,000 transactions per second, but 10,000 transactions per second is very, very fast. I don't imagine anyone would even see a difference, especially in the beginning stages, because COTI is not going to be used by everybody at first. Reliability, they want to make it so that it's, the reliability is high and it doesn't matter where you're at or what jurisdiction you live in, you can do cross-border payments easily. Buyer-seller protections, decentralized and efficient. Transaction cost should be zero to low cost based on behavior, which is going back to that trust scoring mechanism. Trust model, trust-based. What the hell is he saying? Reliant on trusted third parties. Trustless, not reliant on trusted third parties. And then COTI's objective is trust generative. Interesting. Ease of use. They want to make it as easy for buyers and sellers as card networks do. Compliance. They want to be fully compliant and they're welcoming of regulation. So by being welcoming of regulation, they really are they were inviting themselves to play on the global stage of cryptocurrencies. So they're trying to connect the best parts of cryptocurrencies with the best parts of card networks. So they just break it down why they're saying these things, like why they're saying the card network is centralized or scalability, blah blah blah. I don't think we need to do that. But if you want to read this, you definitely can do that. The COTI ecosystem. So this is see, these graphs are great because they kind of break down exactly what they're talking about. Like literally this figure 1 is an explanation of all of this. And this exhibit 2 is also the same thing, I believe. They're just breaking down the cluster with this whole thing. So, okay. So because I'm a visual learner, no, I could read this. I don't want to read this whole thing. Um, so this is a depiction of their DSP nodes. Our new transaction, bold circle, so 67, as you can see. Two other source transactions of similar trust are validated. New transactions validate our transaction. And then we can see our transaction is confirmed by the path of highest cumulative trust. The cumulative trust score is bolden, and the path of highest trust is highlighted in green. So 66, let's see here. Well, this one looks green. I guess these are the greenest. So I'm a little colorblind, don't mind me. I can't tell which one is super green. But this is, in a nutshell, how it all works. And the only question I have is, how does it go really fast if it depends on other transactions happening? You know, in the beginning stages of this cryptocurrency, is it going to be 10,000 transactions per second? Because isn't it depending on these other nodes also being these new transactions validating our transaction? Like, you know what I'm saying? So is it going to be that fast? I feel like it's only going to be fast if more people are using it. So that's an interesting question. I don't know I don't think they talk about that, but it's a question that they should answer. Okay, trust scoring mechanism. So this is their, I guess, revolutionary idea here. And it's basically, they take a novel approach of building trust between transacting parties through its trust score mechanism. So they analyze user data, user behavior, network payment statistics to calculate the trust score for each COTI network participant. So like you saw in that picture, you have a higher trust score, you get a higher discount, you get lower fees for sending your payments. And all right, we're going to talk about how they determine the trust scores. So they say they're using an approach broadly resembling how Google search engine algorithms consider multiple parameters for determining web page rankings. Man, that's a mouthful. So they got account balance, the aggregate value of transactions that the participant has engaged in over a set period. Dispute occurrences. So I guess if you have very little disputes, you're going to have a higher trust score. Or if you win your dispute, you're going to have a higher trust score because you didn't do anything wrong. User ratings, the ratings that other transacting parties have assigned to the participant. So you can also get your trust score based on people rating you. Now, they already said there's some counters against the manipulation. They have, if they find anomalies within their trust score, where somebody is manipulating the score based on their competitor, or the other way around, they want to make themselves look more trustworthy, then that causes a severe penalty, and it substantially lowers the offending participant's trust score. So it's interesting stuff, but what I want to know now is, so if you get a low trust score, are you going to keep bothering with COTI? Wouldn't you just be like, all right, there's like thousands of cryptocurrencies, let me just pick a different one? And then in that case, aren't they making the most money from people with the low trust scores? So more questions that need answers. But they do talk about how, somewhere within the white paper that I read, that they don't want to make it so overbearing, and they don't want to make it so that they're enforcing low trust scores on any one party, and they want to make sure that it's easy for them to get out of that rut. So I think that's very important. Mediation system. So the mediation system, pretty much, you get trusted users, high trust scores. These people become the mediators. They get paid to make a decision based on a dispute between a buyer and the merchant. And these are some scenarios: billing errors, blah, and unauthorized charges, undelivered goods and services. So based on a amount of information and such, they make a determination. And if, let's say, the buyer, well, this is a good figure here to show us what would happen? So mediators make a decision. In favor of the merchant, dispute is closed, buyer trust is reduced. If it's in favor of the buyer, compensation is issued to the buyer. Merchant trust score is reduced. Merchant's rolling reserve, when merchant's rolling reserve is not sufficient, reserve credit fund. So that's kind of how this goes. They talk about how Satoshi Nakamoto observed one of the shortcomings is that in providing mediation services, payment providers necessarily incur significant costs, which result in higher transaction fees. So COTI's approach, they want to make it so that, even though there's a dispute, it doesn't necessarily mean that the buyer and the merchant have to suffer with the insane amount of, what do you call it? Well, the kind of things that other payment systems puts on a dispute, like, for example, rolling reserve requirements are usually above 10%, funds are frozen for 14 to 90 days, rampant credit card chargebacks, and non-transparency. So COTI wants to do it where there's a lot less of a minimum rolling reserve requirement. It's at least 3%, and it's based on the trust score of the merchant. Funds are only frozen for 1 week, and equitable dispute settlement by COTI's mediation system. So they want to do this in a more fair way. They don't want to punish, they just want to, I guess, do what's right without putting too much pressure on somebody else or whoever is wrong in this. Collusion protection. So here's other mediation provisions that I'm not going to read. So now we're at native currency. Primary function of COTI coins is to serve as the common denominator as payments, fees, mediation, and to incentivize node operators. So, I think we've talked about all this, but the COTI coin is functioning as a medium of exchange. You can use to pay for things for low to zero transaction fees. Mediators that make decisions will get paid with COTI. Node operators will get paid with COTI. Merchant rolling reserve will be denominated in COTI coins, and all fees in the course of using the COTI network are payable in COTI coins. The currency exchange, as I was saying, you can see that all the different kinds of currencies, fiat and crypto, that you can use to purchase COTI coins. And they want to make this very easy, and to put this on the global stage, that's why they offer so many. And they show you a depiction of the COTI network's liquidity flow. Okay. Now, they also want to have a governance system that is decentralized, so COTI coin holders can vote on decisions that they think will best impact the future of COTI. And that's pretty simple. I don't have to explain that. A lot of cryptocurrency platforms have this kind of structure. Now, for customers, obviously, you're using it for peer-to-peer transactions. This is really cool. If we look here, you can see that this is what their vision is for the future. That we can start using COTI like it's another option on the list, right? There was a time when PayPal was just like that. When PayPal was new, when credit cards were new, when the internet was new. So just because this is very new and this is a ICO and all that, doesn't mean that this isn't going to happen in the future. It's hard to find a ICO that we can really believe in and that will actually accomplish the things that it's saying. But based on what I'm reading so far and how constructed it is, I still have questions, but I really do like what they're doing, and I could see this happening. And if they can promise and really be instant as a credit card but lower in fees, we will see this in many more stores. Now for merchants, right? Oh, they'll also be adding a debit card. I forgot about that. That's pretty cool. So you'll have a debit card with all the COTI coins that you want, and I don't know. To me, that's pretty cool. I like that. So let's see. We also got merchants for merchants. Second pillar of the COTI network's success is the extent to which it can attract a large base of merchants. So that's definitely true. We want merchants to want to do it. So they're saying that they can get merchants by making it really easy for them to use it. They also said the integration process will be made simpler by the fact that COTI's processing solutions will be compatible with several widely adopted e-commerce platforms like Shopify and Magento, or is that what I'm saying? I don't know. I think that's right. Uh, but Shopify, for sure, that if they can integrate that simply, I mean, I have a Shopify store as well. I don't really do anything with it. I focus on this, but I would be happy to add COTI as a form of payment if it's easy, you know. Now, what I would say is like, and they have hedging services. That's interesting too. So like, you can put a put option so that no matter how far down the cryptocurrency crashes, they will always get the value of COTI at $1.72, even if it went down to $1.60. See what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool. You can hedge your risk. Now, I feel like they should make it so that you're incentivized to use COTI as well, though. You know, as a merchant, why would you care about all the like? Okay, great. There's zero fees. Maybe you get a little bit more on that. I don't know. I kind of feel like you need to get more. There has to be a little bit more incentive to use it. Like you should get some kind of dividends or something by just holding them. So maybe they do that, and I just missed it. But um, that's just a suggestion. For mediators, I've said this so many times, you get paid in COTI for external projects. COTI Network will enable external projects to build their applications based on COTI's innovative distributed ledger technology. Okay, and that's that. Regulatory approach, they have a very contrarian view than most people that hold cryptocurrencies. They welcome regulation because they know that regulation and compliance with government is going to make them a very big, what do you call it? Sorry, I got distracted. The regulatory actions will make them considered legitimized, you know, and will be taken seriously. They can't be called a scam if they're following the Know Your Customer, anti-money laundering, and treat clients fair standards. And that's where they want to be. They want to be considered a legitimate form of payment. So they would have to go about this approach. Um, so they just talk about licensable activity, the things that they would have to do to be regulated and be considered legit. They also say they're not a security, and their legal advisors have explained to them that based on what they're used for, what this coin is based on, it's not going to be considered a security, but a utility token. So here's the team. Shafaf Abard Jeffen is co-founder and former CEO of Web3, a leading multinational digital marketing firm. So that's pretty cool. He was a CEO of a company before. He holds a Bachelor of Science. I don't know what the C means because I'm from the United States. I don't know if I've seen that before. But he has a degree in biotech and economics. We also have a research software engineer who has a master's degree in mathematics, research engineer, data science, cryptographer, who was a researcher at IBM. And we have Yoni Neiman, software engineer. So the team definitely looks like competent. And I mean, it's good to see that there's a CEO that has been a CEO before. That's always a good thing to see. It looks like the team is not too young, not too old. It looks just about right for an ICO. And they have the legal department, head of operations. They have their bases covered. They also have a board of advisors that have a lot of experience in this area, and I think that's very cool as well. So for the team, I'm gonna give them, I think, an 8 because you know it's definitely above average. It's not like you have Charles Hopkinson. Am I saying that right? Hold on. Hoskinson, right? That's the guy. Like if that guy was the founder of this, I would be giving that thing a 10. But that's just because he's proven himself, right? By being a co-founder of Ethereum. So given that they're an 8, they have to prove themselves a little bit by implementing everything they've said they want to do. So their roadmap looks good. It looks realistic. Consumer wallet launch in second quarter 2019. I don't know why I just went there. All right, let's start with 2018. Consumer wallet prototype, trust score server prototype, full node, DSP node, and history node prototypes. So this is all just implementing prototypes. Pretty simple enough. They said it. So second quarter 2019, this is when they want to launch everything that they were prototyping. And they will also have a decentralized mediation prototype. So they'll be testing how mediators will work. They also have, so fourth quarter 2019, they'll have their Know Your Customer anti-money laundering server launch, decentralized mediation launch, and currency exchange. 2020, they'll have a debit card launch, hedging service launch, reoccurring billing. 2021, expansion of merchant services, COTI fund, mediation SDK launch, payment processing tools. So that's a realistic roadmap. Now it's going to be a while though to see these things come to fruition. I mean, it's only 2 years from now, but that's a long time for most of us, right? To think like you got to wait 2 years to see your investment turn into fruition. But of course, all good investments aren't going to just blow up immediately, right? So you got to accept that and understand that this is a realistic roadmap to what they want to accomplish. And here's their phases. And they even have 2021 here. Interesting. Expansion of merchant services. Wait, I don't understand. They said this. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, this is 2021, I'm sorry. Okay. So that's a 3-year difference. That's kind of long. And here's the risk factors and stuff their lawyers told them to put in. Okay, so let's look at the ICO sheet. So we got team is an 8. Their vision, I think I'm going to give it a 7 because it's been done and it's done okay now. And the problems that they're addressing, I mean, it's not like it's a life and death situation. It's not like we need this, but it is a convenience thing. So if their vision is, if they can make their vision appealing to the masses, then that is what I think will be the most important thing to what they're trying to do here. If that makes any sense. Because, like I said, we're used to using credit cards and debit cards. We're used to the fees incurring internationally. If they can make that appealing to us, if they can make that appealing to the masses, I think we'll see this become a really, really good investment. Realistic? Definitely realistic. I'm going to give it a 9. Everything they said makes a lot of sense to me, and it seems possible. It doesn't seem that hard for them to, what do you call it? It doesn't seem like what they're saying is too good to be true, right? It doesn't come off as a scam. They give us a really long time frame with that roadmap too. There's a 3 years. Like, scam ICOs will just tell you, your investment's going to 10x in 2 months, right? And that's just not fair, and it's not going to happen. So I think it's very realistic, and I could see it happening. So, of course, chance of scam, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. I don't think there's any chance of scam for this one. I do believe that this is really what they want to accomplish. And there's nothing in here to me that is a red flag. The only red flag is that since the state of crypto right now isn't as hot as it was last year, I don't know how well their funding is going to go, and I don't know how much of a return you're going to get immediately. So this is one of those investments. If you're going to make the investment, you should wait. You're going to have to just wait a few years and let it bloom like a flower. Grammar, 10 out of 10 for sure. This is because I did an ICO review, and it was just so bad. The grammar was so bad that this is so important to me. Because the other one was a scam. There's no doubt about it. White paper, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. They have 3 different white papers. They explain everything so detailed. This is the token sale summary as well. I didn't even go over this one. And I don't really want to go over this, but I guess we could do it. I just don't want to keep you guys like here for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, but If this is something that interests you and you're still watching, then it's probably important for me to look at this. So they're going to be selling 2 trillion, wait, no, 2 billion COTI coins. Tokens will be allocated in accordance with the chart below. So 30% in the token sale, reserve 22%, team 15%, backers, partners, and advisors 10%, liquidity 10%, incentive program 13%. So they explain with all these the COTI amount, the intended use, lockup period, allocation percentage. Reserve, team, let's see, the token sale will be locked up for 6, 12, or 24 months required for the private sale. So that's kind of a long time. And their hard cap, they're hoping to receive 30 million US dollars. So for the hard cap, that's, we'll give that a 6. It's a little high. It's not as high as other ones, like I've seen 50 million. Telegram, $1.7 billion. But for an ICO where you're trying to get public interest, it's a little high. Use of proceeds, a whole bunch of stuff. Most of these ICOs, they kind of say the same things usually, except for market maker. I don't usually see that. 7%. The COTI fund, 7%. Capital requirements, cybersecurity, R&D. So R&D is the development program encompassing base layer protocol exchange, the consumer mediator client applications. And I'm not going to read all this because it's just not, I just don't want to be quite honest. But you can see that token price will be set at 10 cents per COTI. Token sale will consist of private and public sale. The minimum contribution in the private sale is $50,000. That's the minimum contribution. It's a lot of money. ERC tokens will be issued for the purpose of providing an official record of tokens sold. Yeah, of course. Launch of COTI mainnet. The ERC20 tokens will be converted into coins issued on COTI's network transaction ledger with or without prior notice. And we see that they will be issued post-listing on at least one major exchange, no later than the end of September 2018. Okay, so that's cool. They give us a date that's not too far away. To further fund the development of the network, COTI may occasionally initiate additional token sales from the reserve. Okay, makes sense. Okay. Let's see. All right, I want to wrap this up, guys. As for compliant, that's a 9 out of 10 for sure. They are very much into being regulated. They want to be playing at a global stage with money, and I think that that's very important for them to, in this particular case, with what they're trying to do. I definitely think that what they're doing is right. So, okay, in product, at the end of the day, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. That's because the product exists already. You know, it's just they're offering some incentives that are better than the current system, but it really just depends on how they go about it these next 3 years, and how do they make it really easy to use for people? How do they make it accessible? These are the challenges that all cryptocurrencies face, and I don't know if their product is going to be that explosive to the point where people are going to just start buying it when when most of the population doesn't understand what cryptocurrency is anyway. Most people get scared of it. So maybe if they start seeing it on merchant websites and it says COTI on it, people might really start taking it seriously and treat it legitimately. But it's going to be a slow process at first. It's not going to happen quickly. And that's just because, it's just, we're used to a certain way. But forgetting about all that, this ICO has a lot of potential. They have a great team. They have a great website, amazing white paper. Everything they're saying is very congruent with their vision. And to me, there is basically no chance of a scam with this one. They're compliant with the government. Their hard cap is a little high, but it's not that bad. And their product is above average. There is room for it maybe to become more appealing, but as it is right now, I'm gonna overall give this project an 8 out of 10 or a 4 stars, and that's also what COTI got as its on ICO bench. 4 out of 5. I think it deserves it, and I am excited to see what you guys think about it. So tell me in the comments if you like it, if you think it's a scam. I don't care. Say whatever you want. You can win the next Litecoin giveaway, which I will be doing tomorrow. So thank you guys. Have a great day. I'm King Crypto. Let's get cryptical. See ya.